Hi, I'm Taylor. In today's video, we are going to go over Ableton Move's 2.0 update. As of recording this, it's still in beta, so things will change between now and when it's fully released, but there's some pretty big updates, so let's talk about them. And just real quick before we get into it, please like, please subscribe, please stick around. I have some affiliate links down below, normal YouTube stuff. So there's four main things that make up this 2.0 update. There is audio tracks, there are audio tracks, there is the Erosion tool, there's auto shift, and there's link audio. Let's go over them in that order. Audio tracks. So the project that I'm currently in is one that I used before. We're really not going to focus on anything outside of like this lead line that was in it and then new tracks. So this lead line, just so you know what was already there. That's what was already there. So now we can create an audio track. I already have an audio track loaded, but you load the audio track the same way you would load any type of new track. Because I already have an audio track loaded, it goes to the main category, and currently they have audio track in the broadest part of the categories, which leaves you with like audio track, drums, bass, brass, blah, blah, blah. In my head, that's a little bit weird, but I don't know where else they would put it. Like it would have to be its own folder because you don't really have until now, you don't have audio and MIDI tracks, and it would be weird to have a folder option of audio MIDI, and then you're going to be in MIDI most of the time anyway. So then to select down, I don't know. I'm not going to keep talking about this. Select the audio track. And because I've already selected it, it left all the effects that I had on there, but it leaves it empty. So there's a couple things you can do with it. And in the manual, you can load your own clips. You can record your own clips. It also says that you can monitor your audio to use it as an effects. It doesn't say effects send, but it says as an effects processor. In my experimentation that I'm not going to painstakingly do on here, the effects processor part only works currently either when you're monitoring to record or to the things that are already recorded on it. It works as an effects processor, but it doesn't work in the live sense that my head went to when I read the release notes. To start, if you want to add a clip instead of recording a clip, you just select the sample graphic, and now you have all the categories of samples. I haven't loaded anything in here, so I'm just going to go, now let's not go to something crazy. Let's go to like loops and see what we get. So the loops, why? Okay, so that's chaotic, but I'm just going to select that one, and now it loaded it to this pad. So then if I select the next pad, I can load a different thing. So I can load, say, like a stab of whatever. So we can load those things on here if we want. And to delete them or duplicate them, it's the same functions as normal. So I'm just going to delete those two so that we don't have anything on here. The next way that you can record, which they're for sure going to fix this because right now it's a little clunky and rough around the edges. Right now, to be able to hear anything or to monitor anything, you have to arm move to record. So I'm on this track still, I arm for record, and it's showing my signal from this microphone, the built-in microphone. And just like sampling, you can choose what input it is by selecting it. So USB-C or microphone. And the gain is here, which is at 0. And you can only go positive because the track volume is the negative volume, and then monitoring on and off. And then this is the other clunky part. To get back to that setting on the audio track, you have to unarm it for record, arm it for record again, and then I can turn my voice on. So now you're hearing me twice, and we'll very quickly go into the other effects, namely auto shift. Auto shift is Ableton's auto tune effect. So you, just like auto shift in Ableton and on push, you have strength, smooth, semitones, formant shift, vibrato, root, and scale, so you can tune it. So the dry wet is not currently on. I was playing with this before I started recording, and
this is what it does to my voice. Because I'm a child, and There's no better way to demonstrate that this knows how to tune something than to make myself sound like a chipmunk. And if I'm being honest, fart noises are my favorite thing this way, so it's like...
Okay, but so in all seriousness, this is very cool, especially if you're using this in a live capacity and you want to do, I mean, actually, it doesn't have to be a live capacity, in any capacity, and you'd like to tune your voice in a way that just like lets you get the idea down. This is awesome. So I'm gonna go back to chipmunk mode real quick. Okay, so I currently have my voice here, where is it? Shifted 12 semitones, or 12 semitones. But so I can leave it normal, and the reason it still sounds weird because I have the formant shift set, so the formant shift is -15, but I can also go higher. Formant shifting, when you go positive, it makes you sound a little bit more like a robot, and the formants, without going into crazy detail, but basically negative stretches your audio wave of your voice, and positive shrinks the sound of your voice. So to show you,
You have me talking like this, and that's because the formants are positive, making the sound wave sound smaller. But then
Quickly, see how it sounds wider?
it's not going to be the most perfect description of this. You get the idea. And then if I go negative semitones for like pitch, that's where this gets really weird. So this sounds like super scary, but then this sounds more like a weird robot. I think this is very fun. Personally, I like the chipmunk mode, but I like the chipmunk mode with a little bit of the negative formant. So I'm gonna turn this off. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave it on, and we're gonna go to erosion, and we're gonna put erosion on my voice, which is kind of chaotic. If I turn it on, now it just sounds like crazy, right? Okay, cool. Glad that we're done with this. I'm gonna hit play, and I'm going to show you erosion. Boop. Oh, that's fun. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so you have a dry wet amount, which is the first selection. You have a noise blend, which is new to erosion as a tool. Previously, there were three options of what erosion would do. There was sine, noise, and wide noise. This is cool that they've changed it to noise blend. There's frequency, which is what pitch it's peaking at and making the chaos that erosion is. And then there's filter width, which the little graphic kind of explains it, but it basically is kind of like a bandpass filter, is a sort of simple way to explain it. It's saying what frequency the peak is at. You have the filter width, which is the Q of an EQ and of a filter, or the resonance. And then you have the stereo width, so how wide the sound and the noise is. Now let's go to each effect and change things. I'm not gonna change the dry wet, because if I turn the dry wet off, obviously you're not gonna hear it. Noise blend is at 18%. So if we go up, more noise. Go back down, less noise. Frequency, it was at 29, so let's try to remember that. It's kind of cool, actually, pretty high. So I'll leave it here. And then filter width is all the way wide. It cleans it up when we go smaller, which makes sense. So what if we move it again? See, it's crazier when we open the filter back up. And then stereo width, you'll hear very quickly. It's very left to right if you're in headphones. If not, it's probably not gonna sound as crazy, but no stereo width, it's very centered. 50 is pretty cool. But then, so let's go back down to 29-ish. Okay, so now I'm bringing the amount back down so that we can get a little less of it. In actual use, for me, I would probably swap erosion for reverb, so that way the reverb is actually taking all of the weird erosionness and making it bigger and more airy and kind of pretty. Okay, so we've talked about 3 things. There's one more, link audio. It's a very cool idea. It's basically wireless audio for Move, if you have Ableton or Push. The way it works is over Wi-Fi, and it uses Ableton's link protocol. So if you go in to the settings here and you go to link, and as long as it's on, it just has to be on. You could have it on tempo, you could have it on start stop. It doesn't matter, but as long as it's on, it will be synced to the device. It was a little bit stuttery when I used it, testing it here just with my device and my computer. It worked immediately. That's the most important part. We're in a beta still, so I'm not that worried about like full audio quality and all the things yet. I also know that like Wi-Fi is massively unpredictable, so if you need predictability, plug her in. So now that I've gone over all the tools, I have a couple thoughts just in general on all of it. Love that they continue to update the Move. It keeps getting more robust. I think that with these updates, and this is me purely speculating, I think that we're heading into a realm of there needs to be like a shift track menu situation going on. I don't know. You could probably just add like a little number to the side of it so you know like banks of tracks. I could be wrong, but it feels like we're so close to it. That would be really dope. The Erosion tool is very cool. I'm very glad that they're updating it. I've always liked it, but it's always felt very specific, and now it feels a lot more broad, and it feels like there's a lot more breadth with it and a lot more width. And I feel like that's a really cool tool to be able to have in Move because it lets you go further than Saturator currently lets you go. You have full drift on here, so if you like drift and then add that, I think you can make some very, very complex sounds, more than you already could. Auto shift feels cool on here, but it feels very rudimentary, which I think is completely fine, especially in the case that like if you use just Move, in the case that I was using it like talking into the microphone and it fixing the pitch of my voice for a demo recording, which is kind of what the Move is intended to be. Perfect. I don't really sing on stuff. I don't really gravitate towards that stuff that much, but now that there's a way to tune it, it makes me much more willing to honestly potentially try. The link audio is a very cool feature. I hardly use link in general. I love that they're pushing community in electronic music. I think that's really cool. I think that's really special. And I think that it's only going to get better. Also, if you have a router that doesn't actually connect to like internet, that's perfect because there will be 2 devices on it and it should be seamless. That's what most wireless consoles use if you've ever used a wireless console. To give you a final thought and final conclusion, I could not be more grateful and more excited that Ableton continues to put a lot of time and energy into Move and all of their products. I think there's ways that they can definitely improve upon what they've done, but also this is the very beginning of it. So I'm not here to say anything massively negative about that because baby steps. This whole thing has been kind of baby steps and it's been awesome to go along with the journey, and it is so powerful and it continues to get more powerful, which is honestly kind of crazy. So thank you, Ableton, for continuing to update this thing. Thank you for giving me way more features than I ever expected to get on this thing, and I can't wait to see what you continue to add to it. If you've made it this far, thank you massively. Let me know what your favorite update has been with Move. I think my favorite update has probably been 100%. It's been auto filter. That's absolutely my favorite thing that they've added to this. What's yours? Thank you so much for being here. Please like, please subscribe. I have affiliate links down below. I have memberships if you want to support. Seriously, thank you. I will see you on the next one. Bye. Also, I hope you like the new setup.